All right, it looks like we are live. Hello, everybody. This is meteorologist Andrew Pinero. We are going to send this out to the social medias, allowing a couple people to join. That anybody wants to join. Last time, but if not, then we'll just use the standard YouTube one, which I think will be fine anyway. And also, I changed a couple of things with the audio, so I think this should be a little bit better in terms of noise stuff with the audio. I always forget. I don't know why they did this, but you can't post multiple things on Facebook at the same time anymore. All right, we are going out there. That way. All right, so it is out on all the social medias, but Facebook's just spinning its wheels. All right, anybody that's watching, feel free to comment in the chat. All right. So today, looks like we're going to be talking a little bit about the drought situation that's going on. It seems to have worked well, my new noise suppression. Ah. It's actually not called noise suppression. The official term in OBS that I learned a little bit about is called a noise gate. So I set a level that's the minimum level basically that I would be talking at. Anything that drops below that, so even if the microphone's picking up lower volume stuff, the software just cuts it out. All right, Facebook. I don't know what's going on with Facebook, but it's still posting. And it did not actually post. Come on, Facebook. Pull yourself together. You can do it. I think it did. There we go. It did it. All right. That is now out on the social medias. Little drink of the night that we'll be sipping on tonight is a variation of a Jack and Coke. Did not have the Coke. So this one is my specialty. I call the Grand Jack and Coke, which is a little mix of some Grand Marnier and Jack Daniels. That's what gives it the color. But because I did not have any Coke, that's Sprite in there, so it's clear. So basically, that's the color of the liquor. Cheers, everybody. Okay. And there we go. All right. So, channel updates. You may have seen that there is a new name on the channel, so we'll talk a little bit about that. Then we'll start going into all of the drought situation that's going on. We do have a little bit of some shower rain in the forecast, but it's really not going to solve anything, unfortunately. So that is coming up. And then, games and storms. We'll be playing a little bit of Minecraft. So if anybody's interested in that, feel free to join. That'll be the second half of the show tonight. So let's begin. Let me get all my stuff up here. We're ready to go. And transition. There we go. Okay, so little weather story here. So I do like that the National Weather Service does put out these little weather stories. It is very helpful. So this is going to be showing the picture for 2 p.m., the surface map of 2 p.m. on tomorrow, Wednesday, August 17th. I cannot believe it is heading into late August already. Here, this is where we're going to talk a little bit about on the surface map, like the live surface map right now. The high pressures and the low pressures out there. That's what's going to cause it to be a little bit spotty and not really giving us the rain that we need with the drought situation. So from the National Weather Service here, what to expect. Mostly cloudy conditions across eastern portions of the area with partly cloudy further west. Hello, Raymond. Yes, we do need rain. Your second guy. Do a rain dance. I don't know why, but it held your comment there for review. I will allow. Do a rain dance. Do the rain dance. Do. And that's it. I don't want a copyright strike. Raymond, how are you doing? Cheers. Yes, we do need the rain dance, but unfortunately, unless something drastic happens, I don't believe we are going to be getting any kind of rain anytime soon, even with a rain dance. So that's going to be a little bit of an issue. But how are you doing? I haven't seen Delvin yet, so we'll see if Delvin's going to be joining. But here I just brought up the first part of the forecast here, which is just talking about the National Weather Service weather story. So showers are possible across southeast Connecticut, east end of Long Island, and the interior. It's a very interesting way they worded that, because that's basically everywhere in the tri-state region. So southeast Connecticut, east end of Long Island, and the interior. Does that mean the interior of Long Island or the interior part of the tri-state? Yes, Raymond, I am going to talk a little bit about that too. I have the National Hurricane Center a website up ready to go. But yes, it is surprisingly quiet in the Atlantic. I'm not really complaining because although I do like forecasting for the hurricanes, I don't like actually dealing with them. Especially now because the one extra piece of the puzzle I'll have to deal with is, besides forecasting for the hurricane, getting my motorcycle out of the outdoors. Basically finding a spot, which will probably be at my parents', to store the motorcycle while the storms roll through for hurricanes and stuff like that. So I don't want it to be outside in that because it's heavy for a motorcycle, but it is light compared to cars. All right. Let's talk now about the highs. Highs will range from the lower 70s across eastern portions of the area to the upper 70s to the 80 to around 80 degrees further west. And this is something also where, because of the wind pattern, with that low pressure system making its way east, we're going to have winds coming from the east. So it's going to be bringing in the water's cooler than the land. So it's going to be blowing in cooler air over the coastline regions. And then when you get further inland, away from that marine influence, then it starts heating up. Yes, Raymond, very good point there, too. So I'm wondering with that, because it's so quiet now, if that means we're going to have a pattern where it's just like, we've had this before, quiet for a month or so, then all of a sudden, like storm after storm after storm after storm, then it's quiet again, and maybe one more storm after that, and then it tapers off. So I'm wondering if that's what's going to happen, because the National Hurricane Center did predict that average type of a hurricane season, but it's been quiet so far. So to balance the very quiet, you have to have a very active part. So we'll see what happens with that. Okay. And the last part here, southeast Connecticut and eastern Long Island may see north-northwest wind gusts to around 20 miles per hour. Now, this is going to be very interesting. So this is southeast Connecticut and eastern Long Island. So as the storm makes its way through, the winds are going to switch from east to north, then northwest. As we have that low pressure counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere making its way through. When they switch, as the storm makes its way, the backside of the storm, north-northwest winds gust to around 20 miles per hour. So we could see some gusty conditions out of there. That's the idea here with the weather story. Now, I'm surprised they didn't mention anything about the drought in the weather story here. I would have probably mentioned it very briefly, at least. But even if I mentioned it, I would mention it briefly. It's still something that it's not really gonna be resolved in one day with just a little bit of showers that we're gonna be seeing, and that's really it. All right, so next here, I brought up the U.S. Drought Monitor. Now, this I am very familiar with when I was working on Fios One News. We did use the Drought Monitor, and in our graphics, we actually had the Drought Monitor. We had a graphic panel that pulled the live Drought Monitor data right in there. Oh, actually, Raymond, now that you're here, I totally skipped over this, and I said it was going to be in the very beginning. You may have seen I have changed my channel name. It is not my name anymore. I have decided to go with kind of like a do business as kind of thing. And I have renamed the channel Electrified Weatherman. And I thought that was kind of funny, and it's kind of right on the point, too. There's a lot of the stuff around weather, lightning, and now with all the electric vehicles there, Electrified Weatherman. That's what I have renamed it to. Meg thought that was funny. Delvin, hello. How are you doing there? Delvin, if you can, let's get an update on those sunset times because I have seen we are dropping pretty quickly or getting earlier and earlier in terms of our sunset times. My wife Meg is very excited for Halloween. It is our favorite time of the year, and when the sun is setting earlier and earlier, that does mean it is going to be Halloween very soon. Here we go. Earliest sunsets before 7:45 and moving fast. Yeah. Now that we're getting past the equinox and getting further and deeper into summer, going into fall, fall is really only about a month and a little bit more away. That's going to be the fastest time of the year that we're going to be losing daylight. Where are your bolts of lightning coming out of your ears and hands? Yes, I might. I don't know if I'm going to do something with that, but a lot of my weather videos, especially when there's thunderstorms involved, I do have a little intro graphic that is rain and thunder. The audio that I got from that particular clip is actually me recording it. It's where I was indirectly actually struck by lightning. So I was outside my apartment filming. There was a lightning strike and I calculated the distance. It was only about 500 feet away from me. I was able to calculate that because with the video recording, I was able to calculate the time difference between when the strike of lightning was seen and when the thunder happened. And I put it into Final Cut Pro, which is the video editing software I use. And I was able to then see frame by frame how long that distance was. And the time difference was equivalent of about 500 feet away. After that, I did get like a really bad headache, and it actually set off the fire alarm system in the building that I was in. Quite interesting, that little sound bite that I always use there. Yep, Raymond, I definitely spot on there. Once we're now halfway between the equinoxes, or is that, I guess, plural equinoxes? Yeah, we're moving and losing light the fastest, and just like on opposite for the spring, halfway through between the winter solstice and summer solstice, we're gaining light the fastest, which is good too. All right. So, Delvin, I don't know if you came in just afterwards when we were talking about that, when Raymond put the funny thing about the lightning bolts, but yes, I have renamed the YouTube channel Electrified Weatherman. Because it's a combination of weatherman and thunder and lightning, yeah. And I feel like I try and make electrifying content, and I talk about content with the electric car, the Tesla, and the electric motorcycle, the Harley. Yep, Delvin, very true. And Raymond, I actually wasn't referring to Delvin's comment. It was the one that you did. I see up there, where are your bolts of lightning coming out of your ears and hands? That's the one I was meaning. All right. Anyway, that was just to address that a little bit. I'm going to try. Actually, I have part one. These two videos I put up were my number 1 and number 2 best videos of the year. My number 1 best video was the shorts, and actually I'm going to try and do a little bit more YouTube shorts, because it seems that the YouTube algorithm really likes the shorts. So all of my weather shorts that I've been doing have been getting at least triple the amount of views as my standard weather videos. And Raymond, yes, good point too, because there really haven't been many, or as many as I would have thought, severe weather outbreaks and tornadoes, whether it's in Tornado Alley, Dixie Alley, or even up here in the Northeast. But I don't know what was going on with the YouTube algorithm, but YouTube shorts have taken off quite a bit. So I've started to make a lot more of this really short form content, which is 60 seconds or less, which is actually quite a challenge if I'm used to doing 5 to 10 minute videos and hour-long live streams. But they have taken off. So my number one video of the year was the YouTube short I did of a teaser of the Tesla Model 3 review. So that was my number one video of the year. And my number two video of the year is part one of the Tesla Model 3 review. It was quite interesting to see that. And I know right now also with I don't want to get too much into politics, but once now Biden signed in the Inflation Reduction Act, there's a pretty big incentive for EVs. So anything that is EV Tesla content is going to be trending a little further than any other kind of content, it seems, right now. And Raymond, yes, it's everyone's trying to mimic TikTok. I don't have TikTok. I have people that tell me I should do TikTok, because the series I would do, and I've talked with my sister-in-law about this, what the news doesn't want you to know. And just saying that, it sounds like it would go far, but I just really don't like TikTok. But if I make that video, what the news really doesn't want you to know, I think that would go far. I don't know. I don't like TikTok at all. Because I see my wife is spending like 3 or 4 hours just scrolling through TikTok every day. So I was like, I don't know. Anyway, there'll be now a mix of YouTube shorts and standard weather forecasting videos that I will be doing on the channel, and a little bit more content, I guess it's kind of fun short content with the YouTube shorts, with the Tesla and the EV and the motorcycle, because I have part 1 out, published already, of the Tesla Model 3 review, and then I have part 2 in the can, ready to go. It will be coming out this Thursday for the Full Throttle Thursday. Part 3, which would be next week, I haven't finished filming yet, but that is going to be ready for next week. So lots of new content, and I'm actually kind of excited. The other kind of big news, I actually got an email from YouTube saying, congratulations, you just hit 30,000 views on your channel. And I was like, wow, that's way more than I thought. I have 30,000 views on my YouTube channel. I reached 30,000, or maybe 30,000 people, but 30,000 views across my channel. I was like, wow, here's to that. Yeah, so I'm excited. I feel like I'm actually gaining a little bit more traction now with these type of videos, so I'm hoping to start seeing that subscriber count really go up. I actually gained a couple of subscribers recently. I think I'm at 176 subscribers. I think my highest ever was 178. So I'd love, my goal by the end of this year would be to definitely get to 200 subscribers. That, it may seem small, but that is definitely an achievement. And then from there, 200 becomes then the 500 subscribers, and then the ultimate 1,000 subscriber mark. I can finally start making revenue off of YouTube once I do get 1,000 subscribers. It's got to put more work into the channel and get a little bit more regular. So I apologize for not being regular, but I'm going to try and really get more regular with the content with that. Thus, creating the video today, even though I was about 20 minutes late. All right, back to the drought. Yay, drought. Anyway, the U.S. Drought Monitor. Here we have categories. We have D0 through D4. So D0 is abnormally dry, precursor to a drought, but not actually a drought. Then D1, moderate drought. Severe drought is D2. Extreme drought, D3. And exceptional drought, D4. So when I pulled up the map here and I zoomed into our area, we do have the D3 extreme drought in certain areas there, and Boston is kind of in that area for you, Delvin. The Lake Mead and Colorado River. That's like the all-time lowest levels there. Is that what you're talking about? And the body counts that are coming up? It's something honestly I've expected because I've seen what's happening with climate change recently. And it's something that I was like, it's unfortunate, but it's something I definitely expected, especially when going back to college when I had like theses around climate change. It was a very small piece that I did for climate change research, but it's something I definitely expected to see these river levels starting to go down. My argument with that thesis was essentially climate change is happening and it's always been happening. Climate change is a part of the Earth's natural process. That shouldn't be a discussion if climate change is happening or not, because that's just the Earth. That's part of the Earth's natural process. The only debate that would be acceptable to me is if the climate change is enhanced by human activity, which from my research, I believe the climate change is enhanced by human activity. Oh, I didn't know actually the government was stepping in. Do you know what they're doing, or like are they restricting water usage and regulating and patrolling water usage? I'd be curious to find that out. All right. So anyway, back to our area. We're not there yet. We're not in the extremes just yet. Well, not everybody, but there is that red there, that D3 category of the extreme drought. Not exceptional, which sounds like it's the Colorado River, Lake Mead kind of situation, but we have drought in our area. So this is something you definitely want to keep in mind to minimize water usage. And then even when I was watching the regular news, the weatherman was talking about, yeah, everybody loves their nice, luscious green lawns out there. But to maintain a luscious green lawn, you need a lot of water. And that's just not good for the environment. Because if we're in a drought, using water just to keep a luscious green lawn and not use it for people or for animals, that may not be the best decision. Anyway, that's just my opinion. So the fact of the matter is, besides all this, the opinion stuff is, yes, we are in a drought. We are in some cases in the Northeast here, in that red strip there, we are in an extreme drought. The Hudson Valley is partially in this precursor to a drought, to a moderate drought here. And then even just those little strips up there, and then right around, that's New York City. So New York City there is in, what was the official name for that? Not the extreme. Moderate, severe. So New York City is in a severe drought right now. That's something to definitely keep in mind and try and limit water usage. So with that in mind, do we have any rain and relief from the drought on the way? No. Short answer is no. We do have some showers to talk about, but it's not going to be enough. So here on the watches, alert warnings and alerts, there's really nothing much, but here, rip current statement. Because we do have that low pressure system that is out in the Atlantic, it is chopping up the ocean quite a bit, causing a rip current issue. So the rip currents are pretty strong out there. And if anybody's going to the beach, definitely keep that in mind, and you want to try and minimize the risk of rip currents. And just about a month ago, and actually 2 months ago now, in June, Meg and I went to the beach, and they were actually able to identify with flags where the rip currents were. So they had flags identifying there's a rip current in this area between the two jetties. And then the next jetty over, no rip current. So that was the safe place to swim in the ocean. And then the rip current area was no swimming. All right, so then moving on here. The severe potential. Nothing for today, but going into tomorrow, let's bring up Wednesday here. It's starting to come in just a little bit, but because there's still this marine influence here, is really going to prevent a lot of storms from firing up. But once you get more inland, so most of New York State, except really the Hudson Valley area, and most of New Jersey, except the northwest corner and all Pennsylvania and all that. So that's where there could be just some garden variety storms. Nothing really too strong out there. All right, and we talked about this briefly here before. We talked about this briefly here before, but hurricanes, the Atlantic Basin is very quiet at the moment, and we can see that. So there's nothing here. Even this little piece is a 0% chance of cyclone formation. Tropical wave over Nicaragua is forecast to move across Central America during the next few days and emerge over the bays of Campeche. I believe that's how it is pronounced, Campeche, where an area of low pressure could form on Friday. So this is really not going to turn into much of anything. Raymond, very interesting question. So I don't believe Tornado Alley's moving east because you still have tornadoes forming in the traditional Tornado Alley, but maybe expanding. That's what I would call it. Not moving, but expanding. And I don't think the whole east of the Rockies would be good because there are some terrain that is just not really conducive for tornadoes in certain areas. The Ohio Valley, for instance. Tornadoes can happen anywhere on Earth, but it's not likely in some areas like that. Although it is gaining a little bit more activity. Like in the past, there's rarely tornadoes in the Northeast, but we've been getting tornadoes in the Northeast almost every year. All right, so now let's start taking a look at the radar. So like I was mentioning, there's that low pressure center, which is out here. It's not coming inland. It's staying out here and pretty much going due north. But this is churning up the ocean, so we're going to have those rip current risks throughout pretty much all of the eastern seaboard here. Or the northern eastern seaboard. And then we see that low pressure here. We got quite a gust wind. So that's 10, 20, 35 knots. I believe that's what it's showing. 10, 20, 30. It looks like 35 knots. 37-ish miles per hour. So that's quite some strong winds in the center of that low there. Satellite is pretty much dark now. So let's switch from visible, which is when I set this up, to let's go with some shortwave infrared. There's our system that's fairly stationary. And this is always a sign that I look for a healthy system that is continuing to go, which is outflow. So with low pressure systems in the northern hemisphere, we do see counterclockwise rotation for low pressure systems. So counterclockwise would be going this way. But here you see these clouds moving clockwise. Why is that? Because the low pressure is so well developed and very healthy. Low pressure at the surface equals, or strong low pressure at the surface equals high pressure aloft. So when you have a surface low, it's basically lower air pressure than the air everywhere around it. So everything is pulling in towards the center. So when it pulls in towards the center, It can't go down because of the ground and the water. So it has only one place to go. When we pull the air in towards the center, it can only go up. So with this, a little bit different than a hurricane. It's not really a hurricane because it didn't form in the tropics, but you can kind of think of it as a system like that. We have this low pulling all the air towards the center, and then it can't go down, so it has to go up. So it goes up, and it forces its way up and out. That's where we see outflow aloft, which we are seeing right here. That outflow aloft, meaning this is a pretty healthy system. Yeah, Raymond, so that's where I'm thinking these rare situations are becoming less and less rare over the decades, potentially because of climate change. So we can't say for sure just yet. Or the human climate change part. But it's something that is definitely something to take note of. All right. So now let's start going into our forecast models. We're going to start here with the good old GFS. There's our system. As we advance here, we're going to see through Tuesday. It gets pretty intense because it looks like a very healthy system on the satellite right now. There's these little spot showers that we can see popping up throughout the day tomorrow. Not a guarantee of anything. Not everybody may see a shower, but there is a chance that there could be showers out there, so you might want to prepare for that. But this is what I was saying before. It looked like that low pressure is just going to keep moving due north. Not making any Fujiwara-like effects or anything like that. Moving due north. So, yeah, Massachusetts, you're definitely going to see it, especially going out towards the Cape there. So, keep that in mind, Delvin, you might be seeing a little bit more rain than anybody west of you. Especially right here, right around the tri-state region, New York City centered right around there. Because we're still going to have a little bit of a high pressure influence in here and the marine influence. That's going to kind of shield New York City tri-state region a little bit. That does make its way out. So it looks like later today, Wednesday, going into early Thursday, you can see a little bit of shower action. But then it clears up for later in the day, Thursday. Friday looks clear here until we go into late Saturday. So again, this is not a soaking rain that we're seeing until maybe here, which isn't until next Tuesday. So we're really not going to see high shower chances until next Tuesday. So I don't see the drought ending anytime soon. All right, so on the European here, advance through. There's the low pressure making its way north. Spotty little showers here, nothing too consistent, nothing that's really going to be driving the drought away or clearing up the drought. I wouldn't necessarily call this a nor'easter, because I don't believe it went pretty much up the East Coast. It's a close call because by definition, and let's just bring up here, I'll just bring that up real quick here. The official National Weather Service definition of a nor'easter. Let me pull up the glossary here. And let's put into here nor'easter. Nor'easter. Didn't come up. Okay, why? Come on. You can do it. All right, let's do this alphabetically. It spells nor'easter, NOR/apostrophe Easter. A strong low pressure system that affects the mid-Atlantic and New England states. It can form overland. Oh, let me bring this up. Sorry, I forgot to switch. Go. There's our definition. So we have a strong low pressure system that affects the mid Atlantic and New England states. It can form overland or over coastal waters. These winter weather events, they're not really winter weather events, are notorious for producing heavy snow, rain, and tremendous waves that crash onto the Atlantic beaches, often causing beach erosion and structural damage. Wind gusts associated with these storms can exceed hurricane force in intensity. A nor'easter gets its name from the continuously strong northeasterly winds blowing in from the ocean ahead of the storm and over the coastal areas. So, according to this definition, this actually may be an early nor'easter. We'll see what the news stations actually call it, but keeping this in mind, so nor'easter gets its name from the continuously strong northeasterly winds. And it doesn't say if there's a specific area it has to form, but it can form over land or over coastal waters. So this may be a nor'easter. It all depends on the wind direction. Let's go back to here and rewind to this system. So here we're having counterclockwise rotation. So, yeah, actually, would you call this an early season nor'easter? Yeah, I think I would, based on that. And actually, with that, so let me go back to the Euro here. I'm going to grab another drink and I'll be right back. All right, we are back. Overuse the term tornado emergency. That one I really don't know, because anytime I've seen it used, it makes sense. I mean, a tornado is essentially an emergency. All right, back to the euro here. There goes the low. And now this is for Wednesday 18Z. So there we go. Little spotty showers. Clears out. Oh, what happened here? It went back to the initial frame. Oh, that was weird. So Friday, yep. So it's cleared out for Friday. Saturday looks good to start the day. Then overnight Saturday into Sunday, another little round here, but again, it doesn't look like a steady soaker. Monday, spotty showers, but again, nothing that's really going to alleviate the drought there. And then going into Tuesday, not actually as continuous as the GFS was kind of showing. Oh, I see what you're talking about, Raymond. So, I didn't know you were referencing that one with tornado emergency with no tornadoes. If there's no tornadoes, well, I haven't actually seen that one. I don't think I was following too well with weather at that point, but that's besides the point. Anyway, if they issued a tornado emergency based off of the conditions being ripe for a tornado, that I don't think is right. A tornado emergency should be radar indicated tornadoes, multiple tornadoes. That's kind of what I think for a tornado emergency. We have this constant tornado forms, dissipates, something like that. That is most definitely a tornado emergency. So if they issued a tornado emergency and there were no confirmed tornadoes, that's a little gray area, but I do know for a fact that they do err on the side of caution. So if they think it could be a tornado emergency, even if it's not a high chance, it's like, we're going to issue it just to keep people safe. But then the layperson that doesn't follow weather, they're like, oh, there they go again. Those meteorologists don't know what they're talking about. I still get that to this day. Oh, that was the glossary. Okay, now the icon. Let's take a look. And I am using the 12Z for this to get the 180 hour out. There goes our low, heading pretty much due north there. So this really doesn't even show much of showers happening. Little bit here and there, but again, once you're in Massachusetts, anywhere along there, you may see a little bit more action. And then that clears out. So Thursday looks like it could be salvageable. Friday looks good. Saturday to start the day looks good until maybe this. So the NAND actually doesn't, the icon doesn't show much of anything happening with this. So I don't necessarily agree with the icon on this. I think this is going to have a bit more of an influence with some showers happening. Not much of shower happening. But I still think overnight Saturday to Sunday, we could see showers through a lot more of the area than what the icon is showing right here. Oops. Wrong button. Continuing through. Monday. We're going into Monday. Little shower action here and there, but then going into Tuesday, maybe a bit more steady rain, which is what we need to get out of this drought and break the drought. Ah, gotcha. I kind of stick to what I said just a little bit before. I think instead, they do err on the side of caution, which I totally get. But tornado emergency, in my opinion, is really when you're getting tornadoes forming, dissipating, like a constant form, dissipate, form, dissipate, form, dissipate. That, I think, is a tornado emergency. All right, going on to the NAM here. There's that low heading due north. The winds get strong around there. So again, maybe right around the Cape in Massachusetts there. May see a little bit more. That high's having an influence, so nothing much is happening through the tri-state region. Kind of heading north more, so the Albany area may see it more. But around New York City, maybe shielded a bit. So still, maybe some little showers here and there. Then going into the second half of your day on Thursday, looks like it's clearing up. Friday looks like it's going to be clear, so that's in line, and that's the end of the NAM. Last thing here, let's take a look at some temperatures. I have the 3-kilometer NAM for 2-meter air temperatures. Ooh, that is all the way out. We want to rewind that. All right, so this is today? Yeah, it is today. So going into tomorrow. So overnight tonight. There we go. And I can't see the low pressure. That's kind of neat there. You can see the low with the temperatures. All right, so overnight lows getting down into the 60s for most parts there. Maybe the upper 50s once you get a little bit higher and a little bit more inland. Highs tomorrow because it's going to probably have some more clouds and that little scattered shower chance. Topping off really in the 70s for the most part around the tri-state region. South Jersey could be in the 80s. More north can only really be topping off, it looks like, in the 60s. All right, we're getting a little bit chillier there into the upper 50s overnight Wednesday into Thursday. We're starting to get into late summer here, so we're seeing that tendency just to show up a little bit. I'm not saying, because this is August, these are the dog days of summer. But this is where certain pattern changes can bring a little September influence in because we're close to September. Hey, Raymond, I definitely agree with you because a lot of people I work with, not in the weather, not in news or anything like that. Regular, like Apple. But anywhere else that's not in the news, when they are like, oh, a severe thunderstorm warning. Oh, okay. Yep, another one. Another one. It can be overdone a little bit with the severe thunderstorm, so maybe the criteria has to change a little bit. I know with the severe, actually, let's go back to the glossary here. So we're in N. Let's go to here. Severe thunderstorm warning. This is issued when either a severe thunderstorm is indicated by the WSR 8080D radar or a spotter reports a thunderstorm producing hail 1 inch or larger. So that's the key there. 1 inch hail or larger. And winds equal to or exceed 58 miles an hour. And that sounds like gusts, not sustained. Because that's a key differentiator with blizzards. So gusts hitting 58 miles an hour. Therefore, people affected should seek safe shelter immediately. Lightning frequency is not a criteria for issuing a severe thunderstorm warning. They're usually issued for a duration of 1 hour. Maybe here, lightning frequency, maybe they want to try and add that in to the severe thunderstorm warning criteria. I don't know. But yep, severe thunderstorm, 58 mile per hour winds, and 1 inch, at least 1 inch hail in diameter. Oh, that's a typo. A National Weather Service. A thunderstorm wind equal to or greater. Equal to or greater. It happens. I totally get it. I've been there when I was on television too, making little typos here and there. But for the National Weather Service, I would probably have found that already because I don't think this definition has changed in quite a while. Maybe I have discovered it, and maybe I will let some people know. Actually, I don't know anybody in National Weather Service, just the news. But there's a little typo there. So a thunderstorm wind equal to or greater than 40 miles per hour. Oh, that's a little funny there. Okay. Anyway, back to temperatures there. This last one here. 3 kilometer. Oh, we're not going to look at that. Go back to the temperatures. Okay. So end here. So that only goes out to the 60 hours. So let's take a look at the Moss now. Go. Okay. So taking a look at the Moss. 72 for high on Wednesday from ice slip. Yeah, because you're going to have more of a marine influence than anywhere else. Then that bounces back up to the low 80s, mid 80s, going into the weekend. Low 80s, upper 70s. And Climo, 81. So besides tomorrow, it's going to fluctuate kind of around, a little bit above, a little bit below, which is where the averages come from. Then for Newark, 69 for a high tomorrow is what it's calling for on the mechs there. Very interesting. What we got on these? It's calling for a high of 77. Yeah. That's quite a difference. 77 to 69. Oh, I was looking at some... I don't know what I mixed up there. So 76. Okay, that's closer than what I was expecting. 76. Going down a little bit more. HPN. 71 for the high. A little bit cooler because White Plains is closer to the ocean than, or closer to the influence of the storm than Newark. 79, 85, 86. Yeah, so then we leave the kind of September-ish feel Wednesday and Thursday, going a bit more into more of an August feel. 85, 86, 86, 86, 82. Climo is showing an average high of 81. All right. So overall, the drought we are in. We'll do a little wrap up before we head to the gaming. All right, so it looks like the drought that we are in will not be resolved in the next week at all. And we are going to be seeing some showers here and there. Maybe some spot showers around the tri-state area tomorrow once you get a little bit more east. The eastern half, like Suffolk County, Twin Forks of Long Island, coastline of Connecticut, going east of there, so that Cape of Massachusetts. I don't know if there's actually a name for that cape. So, Delvin, do you know if there's a name for, like, an actual name, like Cape May or something like that in Jersey? Is there an equivalent, like, name for the Cape of Massachusetts there? But, it looks like that is where you're going to see most of the rain for tomorrow. It clear out by Thursday morning, so clear conditions for the remainder of the day and Thursday. Same thing Friday, Saturday. I think overnight Saturday is where we're going to see the next little bit of showers, more scattered, nothing big out of there. Clearing out for Sunday. Monday looks like maybe some showers here and there. But then Tuesday, next Tuesday, a week from today, we could be seeing maybe a little bit more steady rain. I don't think it's going to relieve the entire, or get us out of the drought. But it may be some relief, a little bit. All right. Raymond, so if I was in charge, I would actually put lightning frequency in there because I was thinking about that. I didn't know if lightning frequency was a thing, but they specified lightning frequency is not taken into account. I would definitely take lightning frequency in because lightning frequency in combination with the 1-inch hail, that's definitely a severe thunderstorm. If you have 1-inch hail, but it's more sporadic 1-inch hail, like you have one single piece of 1-inch hail coming down, that would technically qualify as a severe thunderstorm. But it's not sporadic, or it's not. It's sporadic. It's not regular. So I think either lightning frequency, or amount of hail coming out and hitting the ground would be something I would change and put into the criteria for actually delivering a severe thunderstorm warning or tornado warning. Honestly, I would leave it. I might change the tornado emergency, but for tornado warning specifically, I would definitely leave that as is. Okay. Let me bring up here a little bit of Minecraft. For the last half hour-ish, maybe a little bit less, depending, we'll spend some time in Minecraft. There is a new launcher, which is quite interesting, even for the Java edition. Which on the Mac, that's the only thing you can run is the Java edition. All right, we got our Minecraft here. Oh. Do you hear any of the sounds from Minecraft right now? Cape Cod. Okay, that's Cape Cod. Okay. For some reason, I thought Cape Cod was... Okay, thank you. Cape Cod. You do hear the sounds. Okay, good. How does the audio mix sound between my voice and the game audio sound? So I didn't transition the camera just yet, but the music should be in there. Music is loud. Okay, because it did sound loud in my ear. So it was at 47% master volume. I brought this down to 25%. That's a little loud. Let me bring it down a little more. 15%. Let's do 20%. I'll leave it at 20%. Let me know what you think. Oh, YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain a smooth... It looks fine on my end. Okay, so it looks like it did fix the thing with the noise gate when I did that. Actually, it looks like the noise gate is running in the background. So I see the audio level for certain things going up and down and up and down. Okay, let me drop it down. So I have it on 20. Let me just drop it down a little bit more. To music and sounds. I dropped it down to 15. That definitely sounds better in my headset. Let me know what you think. Actually, let me switch over to the OBS here. Just want to check. When I'm not talking, do you hear any of the sounds? We're actually doing a little bit of live. Oh, song stopped right now. So wait till the next Minecraft song comes on. I think when I lowered it down to 15%, it's actually below the threshold for the noise gate. Might have to adjust the noise gate, but I don't know if I could do that on the fly. So we'll see. There's no song playing right now. There's no background sound in Minecraft. So while happening, I will my last drink of the evening, and I'll be right back. Hello, back. So, Delvin, yeah, I think I'm going to set it to 20. Let me see here. Actually, that was a good test. So let me stop talking for a second. It's playing right now, so I think that's a little bit louder, maybe not 20. So let me add this up a little bit here. Put it on 18%. I'm just going to bring it back down because I'm going to be talking a little bit as we're playing here. There we go. The audio is coming through. I see it in the recorder here. Looks like for the game, it's -20 to -15 decibels. My voice is peaking a little bit louder than that at -10. So actually, I might be able to lower it a little bit more if I'm going to keep talking through this. A little bit lower. Because what I usually like to do, and this is the same thing whether it's a live video or a recorded video, I like to have background audio between -25 and -20 dB. Still a little bit loud. Now I'm at 5% master volume. Oh, and that's triggering the noise gate. Actually, I think that's good. So I have this at 8% master volume. And the noise gate's not activating, so I think we're gonna leave it there. How's the music background sound now? If it's too low, I can raise it. Let me know, Delvin. But I also keep getting this error, YouTube's not receiving enough video to maintain a smooth streaming. But I'm getting smooth streaming with 0 drop frames out of my end. That's weird. All right, let's transition on over. Which will also drop when the camera's going full screen. It actually drives up CPU usage quite a bit. Now that I have it picture in picture here, it's down to about 25 to 30% CPU usage versus maybe 40%. All right, so now there's actually no music playing. It looks like the song, or sounds like the song ended. Now the noise gate's fully going, which is good. All right, let's load up the game. Games and Storms. All right. Let's see. I don't remember the last part here. See this going. Ooh, we're smelting some raw copper. Keep that going. It looks like it's daylight, so I think I can actually out of here and those foxes won't attack me. All right. The mobs should be docile for normal animals during the day. This is running very smooth. I am very happy with it. Hey, come on, Mac Gaming. You gotta give it for Mac Gaming, right? An octopus. Oh, there's a bunch of octopus. Sorry, squid. New recipe unlocked. I don't know if it's because I looked at the squid. Let me get a squid here. Oh, and it went away. I'm gonna come after you. Okay, good. The water is actually turning off the noise gate, so that's good. So that sound in the game, I think, is working fine. There we go. New recipe with the ink sack. Some salmon. Let's go fishing. Hang on here. I have the wrong view up here. There we go. It's better. Awesome. Raymond, you're totally fine. Yeah, if you have questions, definitely feel free to ask. Yeah, so going back to your question from before, if I were in charge of the National Weather Service, I would start adding in lightning frequency into the criteria for a severe thunderstorm. There's the little fox. Ooh, they're fast. One thing I want to check here. Bring up some quick stats. All right. This was a confirmation So the Mac that I'm using right now has 64 gigabytes of RAM. I'm using 51. I'm not doing much. Not doing much, but it's intense. And you can see the M1 Max GPU is like 90% utilized. And I hear the fans really kicking up now on the computer. So that is more confirmation that I am glad with my purchase decision with this particular computer. Okay. It was getting a little bit warm in here, so we were discussing if we're going to turn the air on, but not yet. Although I do see in the view my forehead is very shiny. It's not in the little picture-in-picture that you're seeing, but also in the full screen preview I can see. But that should be fine because we're going to go maybe 20 more minutes until 10 o'clock, and then we're good. And Raymond, you are totally right there. Everything you brought up is a really good talking point. Tornado warnings, I feel that the public views a little bit differently, that it's more urgent. But a severe thunderstorm warning, it's just so like mundane. Oh, yep, severe thunderstorm warning. I shouldn't go outside. I kind of get that feeling. But with the tornado warnings, so the last time I had a tornado warning in my area, I had a friend text me because they actually saw the emergency alert on their phone come through, and it said tornado warning, and they were like, I see a tornado warning in our area. Like, what do I do? I'm so confused. But nothing against that person. But that's kind of the reaction that I've seen from a lot of people. Because tornado warnings, especially in the Northeast, they're so rare that you don't know what to do. And you may be on the fence of, do I dismiss it or do I need to go like into full panic emergency mode? I do agree with you with the NOAA weather radio, but who has NOAA weather radios? I do. I'm a weatherman. I'm a professional meteorologist. Sure you do, Delvin. I don't know if you do, but I would guess you do because you're a weather enthusiast. So I would assume that both you and Raymond have NOAA weather radios. Because you follow me, you follow Joe Chaffee, follow Joe Rayo, maybe. You don't have a NOAA weather radio. So that's a quite interesting point. Going back to Raymond's point there. I think that NOAA weather radios should be a bit more prevalent. You have a phone application. Very interesting. Because you had enough thought for the NOAA weather radio to go out and get an app for the NOAA weather radio. Not everybody thinks like that. Ah, Delvin. Okay, I totally feel you. But hey, we're bonding over Minecraft, right? But I don't know. So I'm still early. Well, still, I guess like you say, I'm early in my meteorology career. But after my 5 years, let's switch. This is some real talk here. All right, real talk. After my 5 years at Bios One News, which is a New York City market weather station or news station, sorry. I don't know if every news station operates like that. And I've heard mixed reviews from other directors and audio ops and engineers that yes, it was similar and no, it wasn't similar. But it was always my dream to be a meteorologist on television, and I have achieved that most definitely. I was definitely on television, but it was not what I expected. It was very weird, and I feel like my college education did not prepare me for what I experienced at the news station. So, and I remember the number one thing I still remember, day one. So my first day on air was the weekend after Christmas weekend 2015. And when I was training with the chief meteorologist there, he warned me. He was like, and I don't have a bleep machine, but he actually warned me, quote, "You're going to see some shit unfolding around you. You're in a bubble. You're in your weather bubble. Keep your head down. Keep making your weather forecast, and you'll be fine." End quote. So the idea was, I'm making the weather. I don't control what goes out on air. I make my weather piece. If it doesn't air properly, that's not on me. I make my weather forecast. If the show's running behind, not on me. I try and do, if the directors ask me to go short or go long with a weather forecast, I will. But if that throws off the timing for another producer, or the executive producer doesn't like that decision, not on me. And then I've seen that around where it was a bad working environment. There were a lot of loud yelling. There was a lot of yelling. There was actually punching of walls by our executive producer. There was throwing of stuff by our executive producers and yelling of our producers to the directors and then the audio ops and then the master control operators. It was a bad working environment, and I did not expect that. And my college education failed to teach me that. I did intern for CBS 2 News in New York City, and that was great. So if I ever do go back into television, it probably wouldn't be at a local news station. I would only want to go back on the television if it's a big like city, New York City job, which I can say I have been on television in the New York City market, which I was. Local news in the Hudson Valley was considered the New York City market, which is market number 1. The most watched television market in any place. So it would have to be really incentivizing to go back. I'm kind of enjoying what I'm doing now. I'm enjoying what the work I do with Apple. I'm enjoying this. Making YouTube. My end goal, I would absolutely love to be able to just make YouTube videos and make a great living off of doing YouTube videos. And that'd be my only thing. But I'm not there yet, so I still got work to do. I want to achieve that goal. All right, real talk over. Back to gaming. And it's really down to also viewers like you, Raymond, and you, Delvin, that help drive me to help create more content like this. And I feel like I'm at a tipping point, especially with my realization of the YouTube shorts and stuff like that. And the success I've seen with the Tesla stuff and the rebranding to Electrified Weatherman. I feel like I'm at a tipping point where I could really actually start making revenue from YouTube. So thank you both for sticking with me and watching whenever I go live. And I really, really appreciate it. All right. Emotional part ending. What'd you say here? James Spann and Mike Morgan. I don't know who they are. OG meteorologists in Dixie Alley. I'll have to look that up because that's quite interesting about how James Spann hates tornado sirens. And we don't have tornado sirens here, but where I live, we actually have nuclear sirens. There is a nuclear power plant probably about 10 miles away from me. And they have drills and practices where we hear the nuclear fallout siren every so often. That actually is quite scary. I feel like that is more scary than a tornado siren, a nuclear fallout siren. It's like, what? The name of the nuclear power plant that's near me is Indian Point Nuclear Power. I fully think nuclear power is the future in terms of power generation versus coal, because it can be very efficient. But there obviously are hazards with nuclear. They're not what the media actually claims for nuclear. And I didn't realize this until I watched the video. Kyle Hill is a YouTuber that I really like. And he had a series on the 3 Mile Island nuclear incident. Incident in air quotes. Because it wasn't an incident. I had no idea that there was no nuclear contamination from 3 Mile Island. The news media overdid it. And they claimed that there was nuclear radiation leaks from the 3 Mile Island incident. That didn't happen. 3 Mile Island was the worst PR, specifically nuclear incident, because there was no radiation released from 3 Mile Island. Anyway, back to the gaming. Back to game, as Minecraft has told us here. I forgot what I was trying to do. Oh, I think I made a boat. And I was trying to explore a little bit more. So let's head down here. Back to my little fort, which is guarded by our foxes. There's boat. All right, we are back out into the river here. See if I can catch some fish from here. Nope. Got a fish. Here's the one. And last fish. All right, there we go. We got our fish. Head back to our... Ooh, swam quite a ways. Let's head back to our boat. Alright, go back in our boat. I don't need any more fish at the moment, so I'll leave those salmon. Oh, that was weird. The salmon jumped out. Is that something new? The salmon jump out of the water? Ooh, what's down in here? Looks like a little underwater cavern. There's quite a bit there. No, never mind. There is nothing down here. Oh well. in the wall. Oh, there's a waterfall over here. What are we down here? Like there's some coal. I do have an axe. Hop down the waterfall. There's something down here too. Oh, what was that? Oh, skeleton over there. We'll try and ignore that. Try and get my blocks from over here. Do not have. Oh. Make a stone axe when I get back. Oh, that is not what I want. Need a stone axe. The sun is setting, so back. Oh, interesting. So James Spann works for the ABC affiliate in Birmingham, Alabama. Look at those oars go. Dock our boat. In. Round a little there. Ready to go. Boat is docked and staying in. Now let's head back in to make a stone axe, which I did not realize I didn't have. I have one. Yeah. Ooh, copper's ready. 32 copper ingots on top of 20 copper ingots. Awesome. Oh, I guess this will be my last drink. I'll get one more refill for you. It helps if I take the headset off that I'm plugged into. All right, we are back. I ran out of Sprite as a mixer, so my wife got back with groceries. So I got some Snapple. Snapple half and half as a little mixer. So it's kind of a Long Island iced tea. It does kind of look like an iced tea. So anyway, back to the game. Yes, must make my stone pickaxe here. I need the crafting table. Stone pickaxe. Place the wooden one. I put the wooden one actually in storage tote. Oh, and I need some food. Those cooked salmon. Have some cooked salmon here. Good. Put the raw salmon into storage. I'm not going to travel too far because I knew the sun was setting. It does look like it's getting darker. Here's the sun. Oh, there's the sun. There go the school of salmon. As the sun. I do like that I lit my entrance with those torches. Little glass ceiling. You should still see. It's probably saved somewhere. The very first Minecraft game that I have is quite intense. Got that. Let's put a little block here to block anything from coming in. Let's go exploring in here. Actually, do I have a bed set up? This is my bedroom. I don't think I have any beds. That was my bedroom. This was the guest, or secondary bedroom. With the ceiling there. For a very interesting question, Raymond. So, what would happen is when a tornado warning is issued, actually, it's an FCC regulation requirement that no matter what is being aired on the news, on the network, if a tornado warning is issued, you have to break in and do a break-in live breaking news with the weather. So, what would happen is tornado warning is issued. Joe Rayo or Joe Chaffee or me doing the weather, I would get that. I would call either the producer or the executive producer, whoever was there. Ideally, you would want to call the executive producer because then they can call the shots for the other producers. So, tornado warnings issued. I would get on the phone and I would call the executive producer because there's in our news station, all of these different areas of the news station were probably like hundreds of feet apart from each other. So where I was with the control rooms, and we call them PCRs. So we have primary control room 1, primary control room 2, primary control room 3 for our 3 different zones that we did for Hudson Valley, Long Island, and New Jersey. So say a tornado warning is issued for Orange County. That's Hudson Valley. And let's say that's PCR, primary control room 1 for Hudson Valley. I would call the executive producer, say, hey, tornado warnings issued. I got to break in now. They would be like, okay, I'll let them know. Then they would call the producer for Hudson Valley. I would, as fast as I can, get ready to break in on air. I would run down to, there's also maybe like 50 to 100 feet away, the green screen studio for the news. I would run down there and because we didn't have like there were the audio ops didn't have a union there, so like when I worked at CBS, it was union regulation that the audio ops had to mic you up. You cannot mic yourself up. They had to do that. It was part of a union rule to protect the jobs of the audio operators. Totally fine. But our station didn't have an audio op union, so I would mic myself up. So I'd throw my mic on. I'd throw my IFB, it's called. I forgot the exact term it means, but it's the earpiece that I would wear. So I'd throw that on. I'd run down to the green screen studio. And that would, as I'm walking down, I would turn on the earpiece and I would start listening to what the director is saying. My mic would be on. I would turn that on so they can hear me. I would tell them, hey, we got to break in. Let's do a 30-second cut in or a 30-second break in. And then I would have my graphics ready to go. Because you kind of, as a weather forecaster, you would kind of think there's a severe thunderstorm or severe weather potential for the day. So you'd have some graphics ready to go. So I'd run down there. I'd run into the computer that has the weather graphics. We use WSI from IBM. So I'd have that ready to go. I would play the show. It's ready to go on the green screen. The director would throw in all the graphics and stuff like that. They would set the green screen up for me. And then they would count me in to when they were going to cut whatever is live at that moment. They would cut that live or stop that live broadcast to me. And they would count me in 10, 9, 8, down to 3, 2, 1, go. Or actually, depending on the director and they would have a good relationship with the directors. So you would say usually it's like 5, 4, 3, live or something like that. And then that would be in the earpiece saying, hey, you're live, go. And then I would do my cut-in, and I'd be like, this is meteorologist Andrew Pinero here with Fios One News. We do have a tornado warning that was just issued for Orange County. And I would do my whole spiel. Whenever I'm done, which was about 30 seconds, because then the director would start counting me down. 30 seconds, 15, 10, 5, wrap. They would count me down like that. And then once I hear the wrap, I'd be just about ending. And then they would take it from there. And then they would go back to whatever the regular programming was at that point. So it's essentially us. So Joe and I, whenever we were doing that, if we had a tornado warning issued, it was our responsibility to contact the executive producer, or if the executive producer wasn't available, the producer for the region that the tornado warning was issued. Whether email is kind of slow, but so we would call. I would have a number for each of the producers and the number specifically for the executive producer. I would call them, be like, hey, the warning is issued for Orange County. Got to do a break-in. They would say, all right, let's set that up. I would go, do my thing, director and everything. And then once that's done, they would go back to regular programming, and I'm done. So it was really us, me and Joe, that would initiate the break-ins for that. Now, there was one weird time where the way Fios was set up was we did not go live for almost anything. Everything was called pre-tape, pre-recorded. So there was one time where I was doing my regular, it was a minute and a half that I would get for a 7-day forecast. So I would get my regular 90-second, they would call it, because 90 seconds is a minute and a half. So I would get my 90 for my 7-day forecast. So we were recording all that. And in the green screen studio, I had no internet. So my phone couldn't get any connection to the internet. So if we got anything, I wouldn't get notified. And while I'm recording, there's nobody else that would let me know that something's happening. Well, one morning, I was doing my regular recordings, and all of a sudden, a tornado warning was issued. Ooh, I did not realize the game wasn't paused. Okay. So, one morning, a tornado warning was issued as I was doing my regular recordings. And in that green screen studio, there was no internet. So, I could not know there was a tornado warning issued. And it was a very quick tornado warning. It was maybe 5 minutes that the tornado warning was issued, and it was taken down. So I finished my recordings. I head back to my regular desk and office area, which was near the primary control rooms where I would work. And when I got back, I got to my desk and I saw all the notifications I missed of the tornado warning being issued. And I was like, oh crap. Because that actually means that we violated an FCC regulation. So the executive producer, instead of calling me, he ran down. And he really liked me, and I really appreciated that. That he liked me, and we had a good connection, me and the executive producer there. So he ran down and was like, hey, what happened? There was a tornado warning. I need you to go live now. We looked, and I was like, there's no tornado warning right now. It was so quick, and the way our news station was set up, I couldn't know. I was by myself. I had no... with bigger news stations like CBS, you have the on-air talent, and you have a weather producer, it's called, behind the scenes. They never get on camera. They do all the graphics, and they are the ones that are really making the forecast. The on-air talent just presents. So that's what I learned from CBS. But with these local news stations, they didn't have the budget for a weather producer and an on-air talent. So I did both. So in this situation, I just could not do both. And it failed because of the way the station was set up. So I explained that to the executive producer and was like, okay, I understand. And he just left at that point. Because he was like, yeah, there was literally nothing else I could do because there's no internet going into that green screen studio. So I literally could not have known. So he knew. I called the chief meteorologist, and the chief meteorologist and I had a discussion. Like, yeah, that's just an unfortunate thing because that's the way the news station was set up. So there's weird things that happen like that. But essentially, the hierarchy to put like a bow on your question there, Raymond, it would be the meteorologist that initiates the break-in for the tornado warning. If there's a severe thunderstorm warning, we do not break in at all for that. It's just a crawl. So you would see at the bottom of your screen crawling across there. So the National Weather Service. What we do? Oh, the wording was from the FiOS 1 News Weather Center. The National Weather Service has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Orange County, or like whatever it was. We would actually have to do that too. So it wouldn't be automatic. So when a severe thunderstorm warning is issued, going back to our discussion on severe thunderstorm warnings, what I would have to do is I would have to take the text that the National Weather Service posts, and then I would have to copy that and paste it into an email. I would then have to email the master control operator. They're the ones that are the last ones to touch the broadcast before it goes live to the viewers. So I would email them. We have a new crawl, I would say, new weather crawl, please. And I would have to specify an end time. So it'd be like, new weather crawl, please start the weather crawl now and for 15 minutes to end at 9:30 in the morning or something like that. Or I would say, please put up this weather crawl until further notice. And it would keep going until I would be the one to say and email them back, take down the crawl. So crawls like that, I, as the meteorologist, so Joe, Rayo, and Chaffee, were also responsible for typing up the crawls and emailing it to that master control operator to put the crawl live on screen for the viewer to see. Hope there's a little behind the scenes for you. All right, back to the game. But yeah, if any of you, Delvin or Raymond, if either of you have questions, feel free to ask about the news station perspective. I love talking about that. And a lot of my friends that I talk about that with, they are shocked at some of the things with the news, which is what prompts from my sister-in-law about the TikTok, what the news doesn't want you to know. I really need to make a bed. Because the bed would stop this waiting period for the night to end. Oh, actually looks like it's almost over. But oh, that's an Enderman. That's an Enderman. I hear it. I'm going out. I'm in the room. Let me get the pearls. Ender. I have a strategy. I just don't know if I have used it. There it is. So they are not aggressive unless you look at them. So let me get into a good spot. Oh, there we go. There's the sound. Run, gotta run. There's always two of them. I'm stuck. Ah, at least I'm right in front. Okay. Respawn. Get all my stuff. I have no idea where oh no, I can't see the coordinates for where I am. And I don't have a bed. Oh, so all my stuff is at least out front of a shelter I built. Now I gotta find it. Ooh, that was quite a bit of action. Now I have nothing. I just have full health, but I don't have nothing. I don't even remember what my coordinates were for the home point. Oh no, I may have lost all that progress. Hi, cow. Gotta try and find water. The other challenge is try and get up. Here's the river. A little bit of a harder fall than I wanted. Here's the river that was most likely. Nope, this is just a little, let's say a big pond. This is not the river. Ew. Function F3. Thank you, Raymond. Where? NF. There we go. Okay, thank you for that. So I do have the coordinates. I just don't have the coordinates for where my little cave hut was. Remember how far I walked from when I was originally spawned when I first created this world. Oh, there is. Maybe I'm on the right track here. I don't remember this coal spot. Might be out of luck, unfortunately. Oh, there's a fire over there. If they do anything new for the charred. Oh, lava. Whew, that was close. But if I died, that wouldn't matter because I have nothing. At a river. Let's see if I can follow the river. I should have written down where my original home was. Ah, Raymond, very good question. And I had a quite good discussion with Joe Chaffee about this. So traditionally, there's more fire over here. That's weird. Both of them just turned around. But I had a good discussion with Joe Chaffee around this. And in the traditional age, going back to like when he started, 80s and newer until probably like about 2010. So the 1980 through 2010, you had the regular 5 p.m. newscast. Every 5 p.m., and that's also going a little bit more into the way that the white picket fence kind of communities were. 5 p.m. would be dinner time. So when the husbands come home, they expected the wives to have dinner ready at 5 p.m. And that's when the news would come on at 5 p.m. to give you the news updates. Meg is next to me and says she can make that happen, that every 5 p.m. dinner is ready. It is possible, but we both need to work. We both need to work. I just punched a pig. While the forest is on fire because lava is overtaking the forest. Anyway, so there was the traditional 5 p.m. newscast, and that still holds true today, where you have 5 p.m. CBS News, Fox News, NBC, all of these news stations, they have their newscasts ready to go at 5 p.m. because that's the traditional time everybody's home, everybody's making dinner and eating dinner and watching the 5 p.m. news. So Joe Chaffee said within the next decade, so this was back in this is 2019 when the news station ended. Within the next decade, so 2029 or 2030, the traditional 5 p.m. broadcast or newscast will be done. Because right now, you can stream your news. You can get news from things like Apple News. You can get apps with your news. You can get all these different things that give you breaking news in the moment, no matter what time of the day it is. It doesn't have to be at 5 p.m. So, I'm just trying to meander through this world, trying to find my cave, but I can't. Anyway, so what he said was he sees by the end of the decade, so 2029, 2030, the traditional 5 p.m. broadcast would be gone. And him and Joe Ray are even starting that. So they do their Joe and Joe weather show. Joe Rayo, Joe Chaffee, Joe and Joe weather show, which I'm sure both of you are familiar with. But that's all on YouTube. So it doesn't matter what time it is. As long as they say the time ahead of time. As long as they say the time ahead of time. Like if I post on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, any of those, that Tuesday, 8 p.m., I will be live with my Games and Storms stream. Then I will get people joining me if they can at 8 p.m. And even if they can't, I've still had people, and I know Joe and Joe have had this, where they just have the stream playing while they're at work. That's the people's own choice. But anyway, you can have in this social media age a newscast happen at any time of the day. So going back from your question there, where do you see local weather forecasts in the age of streaming services? They issue streaming services that are not mandated by the FCC. That's kind of where I see it. It's all push notifications essentially. Breaking news happens, it gets pushed to your phone. So that's more geotagging and location based. But the traditional 5 p.m. newscast where you would tune into the weather or tune into the news, you get your local weather and traffic, doesn't really happen. And then for the morning commute, where the morning commute times may start at like 6 a.m., something like that. Because if everybody's working the traditional 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, the newscast would start in the morning for your weather and traffic at, say, 6 a.m. to tell you what's happening with traffic, with accidents or construction on the road or anything like that at that time. So you're prepared if you have an hour commute and you have to be in work at 9 a.m. and you're leaving at, say, 7:45 to be in at 8:45, a little bit early. It would start at 6 a.m. You don't have to have that anymore in this social media age. You can have push notifications. So as you're driving or when you're about to go, you can just check the traffic. You can just check the weather. And it looks like we'll be ending in the next few minutes because my camera has change battery soon warning that just came up. Also, I have to get new batteries for this camera because they gave me a warning that the recharge of the batteries that are in here, actually the battery failed. All right, so I'm going into the night on Minecraft here, and I have no shelter. I'm probably gonna die. Let me head back to the fires from the lava over there. So if anything, I can just throw myself into the lava pit. 5:30 a.m. So yeah, your local weather and traffic in Boston are starting at 5:30 a.m. That's the rush hour too. Some newscasts in Boston start as early as 4 or 4:30. Trying to remember back to the FiOS days. I think our earliest broadcast started at 5 a.m. Which is kind of just mind-boggling to think. So these are aggressive. Oh, what's attacking me? Oh, I got a baby zombie. Baby zombie's attacking. Oh no, there's two baby zombies. I gotta run. Anyway, so the earliest broadcast I think was 5 a.m. And that was during the week. So for me on the weekend, my schedule would be I would get to work at 4 a.m. I would forecast for an hour or an hour and a half, say until 5:30. At 5:30 a.m., we would start our pre-tapes, start the recordings. So then by 6 a.m., everything is ready to go for the 7 a.m. go live time. If things had to happen or change last minute, they can. Is the moon just coming up or going down? That is the biggest question. The moon is just coming up. All right, so this could be a long night. So that was my thing. I would be at work at 4 a.m. I would forecast till about 5:30 a.m. And then at 5:30 to 5:45, depending on when the directors were available, I would start my pre-tapes or the recordings. And then I would be done by, say, 6 a.m. to record 9 videos. Because I had to record 3 hits for the first part, each third, basically, the broadcast was set up into. The first third, second third, and third third. The third third, yes. That the news would be set up in. But I would have to do that for the Hudson Valley, for Long Island, and for New Jersey. So I have to do it for each of them 3 times over, so that would be 9 videos. And then if some producer wants something called a VOSOT, which is it stands for voice over sound on tape, which would basically be me speaking about the weather and like teasing the weather while they're playing something else, some other like hit in the beginning of the broadcast there. I would have to record all those. So I could be recording 9 to 12 videos within a half hour, which was a lot. So I'd record those between 5:30 and 6 a.m. or sometimes a little bit later, all depending on when the directors were available. And then we would go live at 7 a.m. Or not really live, but the show would start airing at 7 a.m. And then every hour-ish to 1 to 2 hours or so. Oh, I am about to die. I need some fish. So every hour or so, whenever the forecast changed enough that it would warrant an update, I would just do the updates there. Yes, I could imagine traffic is bad in Boston, but traffic in Boston is... Oh, I just died. Traffic in Boston, I would guess, is nothing compared to New York City traffic. Especially going into the business district of Boston, where the Empire State Building is. Yes, the business district of New York. Thank you. The business district of New York, where all your Wall Street moguls would be going in. So busy. Oh, can't forget about Trump Tower and all that stuff. That's another video. Alright. So I just died. I'm probably about to die right now, so we're going to start wrapping up the video here. Oh, and the camera died. See if I can very quickly change. 1 second. Alright, looks like we are back, baby. And just to focus a little bit here. Alright, readjusted the focus. I think we're good. Okay. So I should be back. Yep, I am back in the lower third. Very interesting. Only a few neighborhoods have bike lanes. That is a big talking point to New York City, especially with the mayor right now. Mayor Eric Adams. Honestly, whatever your opinion is of Eric Adams, he is way, way better than de Blasio. De Blasio just seems so full of himself and so incompetent. Mayor Eric Adams, he has his flaws, but definitely better than de Blasio. I think universally everybody, Republicans, Democrats, whatever you were, everybody hated de Blasio. Let's see, now that I have a new battery in my camera and survive the night. That'd be quite an achievement. Still, let me see if I can sneak around that spider. Nope, it saw me. Here. Oh, that's an Enderman. I do not have a sword. I do not have armor. Man, I really wish I wrote down what my my home position was. There's some zombies. Oh, there's the spider. I think I see a skeleton in the distance. Oh, there are. Oh my god, there are so many. Oh, the Enderman got me. And there's your traditional Enderman sound. Ah, that is a very good question, Raymond. Hold on a second here. Ah, Delphin, that's interesting. So it sounds the same pretty much everywhere there. Rural communities in Massachusetts keep cutting funding from bus and train services. City. So Boston keeps seeing bus services getting cut and a shortage of bus and train drivers. Now, I also think, not just in Boston, but everywhere. So I've seen this in New York City as well. There's a shortage of bus and train drivers because of the pandemic. So the pandemic really limited services for all that. And a lot of people got furloughed or just laid off that were bus drivers and train conductors and all that. So when now we're fully back open in New York City, Mayor Eric Adams is like, yeah, we're fully open. Let's get everybody back. Not everybody can come back or wants to come back because in the 2 years that were the pandemic, it seemed like people had to find ways to make ends meet, and they may have found jobs elsewhere. So if you lost 10,000 bus drivers, they found jobs elsewhere. So maybe you only get 2,000 of them back. So you're only seeing 20% of the workforce come back. You're seeing a lot of shortages there. All right, so Raymond, to your question. Before you go, in the age of streaming, would wall-to-wall tornado coverage work for services like YouTube or Disney Plus or Netflix, or do we need to update FCC guidelines for that? So that's very interesting. And actually, I died, so I'm just going to end here. Or go back to the title screen. That is done. We're going to quit the game. I'm going to go to full screen. Go. Okay. So, Raymond, to answer your question, I think that YouTube, yes, because I see all of these news stations. Like, there's a whole news section of YouTube that I can always go to the news section and get latest news. Because in my apartment now with Meg and I, we don't have a cable subscription. We just have internet. So in there, we only get news from streaming services or just from push notifications. So with YouTube, there's a news section, so I can go into there and I could see, like, what's the latest happening with Afghanistan or with Biden or with anything there. So I think, from what you brought up there, YouTube could see wall-to-wall tornado coverage. And there's a lot of analytics that go into YouTube. So with my own channel, I can see so many analytics. I can actually point out the ages of the viewers. I can't get their personal information, so I can't get identities and stuff like that. But I can see that my my main demographic that watches my YouTube channel, 95% male, 5% female. So I can see all that information. So I know that most people watching my channel are male. So I can see all that information. So YouTube is very useful to a news station when they're trying to target specific demographics. So I definitely think wall-to-wall tornado coverage can be useful on YouTube. Because YouTube, which is owned by Google knows everything. Google knows everything you search online. So I think that YouTube would be very, very useful for these news stations, and it definitely seems like they're using that. Now, for Disney Plus and Netflix, they're more entertainment based. They're not more informative. So actually, if Disney Plus started putting news on there, I would not like that decision at all. Disney Plus is where I would go to watch like feel good movies and stuff like that, where I want to escape the news and escape the reality of the world that we're in. And Netflix kind of the same thing. I don't. Netflix made a very interesting decision recently where they actually started offering video games. So the streaming services out there, you have Steam, I think, offers a streaming service. Microsoft definitely offers a streaming service because they have the Xbox Game Pass streaming service. And Apple Arcade has a streaming service. They have all these different streaming services out there. And Netflix now joined the ranks because they wanted to prevent people from canceling their subscriptions. I just canceled my subscription today after finishing Stranger Things. But with canceling subscriptions, that's a lot of the revenue or all of the revenue for these streaming services. So if for Netflix, you have Stranger Things, which is the top Netflix original out there. You watch your whole season of Stranger Things and you cancel your subscription until the next season of Stranger Things where you pick it back up again. They wanted to have something in the middle, so they offered gaming. So now you could do Netflix gaming. So honestly, I don't think Netflix or Disney Plus would get into any kind of news or anything like that with wall-to-wall tornado coverage. But YouTube, I definitely see can be part of that because they're in that right now. And yes, working conditions, Delvin, definitely a good point there. Working conditions and wages are not competitive with the transit agencies. Because if I can be working at home, do maybe a boring job of like spreadsheet and stuff like that, but I'm making the same amount of money as I would going into the city, Boston or New York City, going into the city, potentially being in harm's way with, especially with transit. If I'm making the exact same amount of money, I would rather work from home. So it's not competitive. And Raymond, just reading your comment right now. Let's see. Yes, so I think the FCC is out of date with that. So the FCC does not have any kind of mandate for social media. For instance, and I talked about this just before, there is an FCC requirement that if you have a tornado warning, you must break in live no matter what is being aired. It could be a presidential debate. You have to override that presidential debate and break in with a tornado warning. That is the FCC requirement and regulation. There's no regulation for that on social media. I think that would be a great opportunity. So it could also be location based. So if there's a tornado warning in the Hudson Valley, there's a tornado warning or Delvin where you are in the Boston area, your social media accounts would be flooded with tornado warning issued for Boston. And then there would be a link. Please click the link for more information. Something very short, very to the point. Tornado, or maybe where I am. Tornado warning issued for New York City. Please click here to find out more information. And that would be an FCC regulation that whatever news station you subscribe to, NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox News, any of them, CNN, that whatever you subscribe to, they would have to have location-based emergency notifications pushed out to you. Because right now it just feels very voluntary, and there's no government regulation like there is for traditional broadcast television. I think the FCC is stuck in like the 80s and 90s with that. Yes, Delvin. Very good point there. And Raymond, I'll get to yours in a second. Forgo their car. So people who forgo their car could have a hard time with dangerous roads to ride their bike. There's a big push right now. Not really a push, but a big market for electric bicycles, e-bikes, especially in cities like New York City and Boston. So the regulations that that oversee roads don't really look at this new trend with e-bikes and bicycles, because you can get an e-bike and it's within the standard class that goes up to 28 miles per hour. So you don't need a license or anything. So with a bicycle, at least in New York, I'm not sure if it's the same thing everywhere, but in New York, you do not need to wear a helmet if you're over the age of 16. So if you want to get an electric bicycle that goes up to 28 miles per hour, you don't need a license and you don't need a helmet. You can just ride down the road. So I think those regulations have to be updated to incorporate that, especially electrified weatherman here with the electric motorcycle. The EV push is big right now. So whether it's an EV is an electric bicycle, that is considered an electric vehicle because an electric bicycle propels itself with an electric motor, just like an electric motorcycle. E-bikes and e-cargo bikes will be useful for car replacements, cheaper, and they can carry groceries and anything a car would carry. So, yes, especially in New York City, where I've seen like a pizza delivery man. You can have on the back of the bicycle 10 pizzas or something like that. Maybe an over-exaggeration, but you have a bunch of pizzas that you're delivering. They're strapped to the back of the bicycle. So if you have an electric bicycle, it is much easier for that delivery person to deliver the pizzas if they don't have to pedal. Because with electric bicycles, you have a little thumb throttle. Instead of like a motorcycle, even like the electric motorcycle, you have a twist throttle. You have just a little thumb throttle. So you're just moving your thumb, very little movement, and you can get up to 28 miles per hour. So I think that this entire revolution right now with EVs, it's going to force government organizations to change. And Raymond, yes, kind of just what we just talked about. So Delvin said in the chat that he does not have a NOAA weather radio. I do. I don't use it too much, but I do. And Raymond, I don't know if you do or not, but NOAA weather radios are not widespread. And when there is a tornado warning or severe thunderstorm warning or flash flood or blizzard or whatever it is issued, it will go out to the NOAA weather radio of the frequency you choose. This is also going back kind of in time in the decades. No one has to tune to a specific frequency. So if I say for the Hudson Valley that your NOAA weather radio is frequency FM 129.08, I don't have to worry about that anymore. And especially some people I work with that are much younger than me, they don't know what that means to tune to a frequency. So this is something that has to change as well, where I think these app-based notifications should become more prevalent and should be monitored by the FCC because there's no regulation around that. And let's see. Delvin, you said push for EVs is good for removing exhaust pipes from the cars. Yes, so I feel very proud that I have 2 EVs in my arsenal, or in my fleet, I guess I could say. They have no tailpipes, they have no emissions. And based on a suggestion from a friend, I really like his suggestion. Used EVs, low mileage used EVs. So my Tesla Model 3, I bought used at 10,000 miles. My Harley Davidson Livewire, I bought used at 900 miles. They're both considered used. So a lot of the offset of building the bike was or building the vehicle was taken up by the previous owner. So that's where we're seeing a lot, or I'm seeing a lot of this taken up by the previous owner. So my carbon footprint is much lower. And I was even just talking with my parents about this with fueling costs. So today, I went and charged my Tesla. And according to the Tesla app, charging my Tesla Model 3 long range for 1 week cost $1. $1 for 1 week. I was amazed. Now, with normally it would be about $4, but because I'm using both the motorcycle and the Tesla, it's a little bit cheaper. Because the electric motorcycle, oh my God, it's so efficient. So, a full charge from empty to full on the Harley Davidson Livewire costs for me $1.40. A full tank of fuel costs $1.40. And that gives me 150 miles of range on the Livewire. So I can go 150 miles on $1.40. That's so affordable right now. Delvin, I'm just reading your comment right now. I like that you put it as interest/obsession with green transit/urban planning. But yes, that's actually why I had this rebranding, as some of my friends called it, with electrified weatherman. Because I'm starting to see that this is the big thing right now. EVs are about to take off. I got in early, and I'm glad I got in early. And Raymond, yes, that is a very good point, that wireless emergency alerts won't work in rural areas. So in rural areas with no cell phone or a poor cell phone signal, and people, millennials or the generation before them, like Gen Z or whatever it is, that are relying on apps for notification, if you're out and about and you have poor or no cell phone signal, you may not get these emergency alerts. That's a very good point. And that's something where I believe President Biden is trying to address in like a national, I believe it was in the Transportation Act that he was trying to initiate, was to get cell phone signal everywhere there are major roads. That's a good start, but in a lot of these rural areas, there are no main roads because all the roads are dirt roads. Delvin, very good point that you bring up there. So there's all this push for EVs, but an EV like a Tesla or the Ford Mach-E, the Mustang Mach-E, or the Ford F-150 Lightning, they're still cars. They still take up the exact amount of space as a standard car. So you're still going to have the same traffic issues and congestion issues. That's where I really like this idea of the electric motorcycle. The US, and this is actually where I have a friend that was born and raised in India and immigrated to the US within the past couple decades. But born and raised in India, there, motorcycles are the primary transportation. So in that community, electric motorcycles may be a little bit easier to get into. Here, because cars are the primary transportation, or four-wheeled vehicles, I guess you could say, are vastly the primary transportation of everybody. Even when I'm riding my car or my motorcycle down the road, it's kind of like when I see another motorcycle, we do a little like a peace sign there, like wave at each other, because there's barely another motorcycle around. The U.S. does not primarily focus on motorcycles. And I forgot if it was Delvin or Raymond, but somebody else brought the point about the roads. Roads are not set up for electric bicycles, and they're not set up for electric motorcycles. In another YouTube channel that I watched, the guy's name is Jack Reynolds. He actually brought up the point about guardrails. So guardrails are set up specifically for cars. They are at the height level of about your fender on the car. So if you lose control and you hit the guardrail is going to be at fender level. So it's going to be high enough to stop the car from overturning or anything like that. But if a motorcycle loses control and hits a guardrail, you're most definitely flipping over that guardrail, and you're going to go head over heels down the hill or wherever that guardrail is preventing you or preventing a car from going down. And Delvin, yes, especially in cities, a lot of people should be going from cars to the EVs to e-cargo bikes and transportation, not gas cars or to EVs. I definitely agree with that. So if you have something like a Subaru Crosstrek and you switch to a Tesla Model 3 or you switch to a Toyota Prius, good start, but it's still not helping the congestion issue. Buses, trains, and e-cargo bikes, EV self-driving cars. Yep, definitely. The self-driving cars, I would actually separate that into its own category. Because you can have a lot of EVs, EV motorcycle. I've never seen a self-driving motorcycle, but BMW is on the brink of this. So the BMW has a self-uprighting motorcycle. With this, they actually have a little flywheel that spins in the center of the motorcycle. Because to get the motorcycle from leaned over to upright, you have to have momentum. Those wheels have to be spinning for the centripetal force. Once you have centripetal force, those wheels won't want to lean over. They want to be parallel to gravity. So if gravity's pointing straight down, as the Earth gravity is, the tire for a motorcycle or bicycle wants to also point straight down. The tires want to be parallel to the gravity vectors of the planet that you're on. So here, if you have these electric motorcycles, bicycles, or not even electric, but bicycles and motorcycles in general, they want to upright themselves. So with BMW, they actually had a motorcycle that has a flywheel in the middle of it that spins really fast. So you'll actually see the leaned over motorcycle just stand straight up. And I thought that was amazing. And that is the first step into a self-riding motorcycle. Because you have to have the motorcycle self-right or upright itself. So they have that. So once the motorcycle can stand upright by itself without a person on it balancing or without going forward, then you can have self-riding motorcycles. And it's out there. It is out there, yep. Delvin, so Not Just Bikes, is that the name of the YouTube channel, Not Just Bikes? Yes, the YouTube rabbit hole. So I'm glad you went down that rabbit hole for me. So I appreciate anything you can provide about the Not Just Bikes. Not Just Bikes is a YouTube channel, so I will definitely check that out. It may be a channel that I have looked at because besides the Harley Davidson Livewire and the Tesla Model 3, I actually have an electric bicycle as well. I may have looked at this channel, but I just don't remember or recognize the name. I was doing a lot of research on electric bicycles because at that time I didn't have any electric vehicles. I had the 2017 WRX, which you've seen on the channel before, where I've done a lot of stuff with like the Stage 2 kit and all that. But what I was trying to do was get an electric bicycle to help with the 1 mile commute I have to work, which is almost nothing. So the 1 mile commute to work would be very easily done on an electric bicycle. And the other best thing with the electric bicycle, kind of over the electric motorcycle, is the electric bicycle you can ride on the sidewalk. Electric motorcycle, if you ride your electric motorcycle down the sidewalk, no one may notice at first because it's still quiet, just like an electric bicycle, but it is most definitely illegal. You cannot ride a motorcycle on a sidewalk, but a bicycle, you can. And so the electric motorcycle, the Livewire, I can't ride on a sidewalk. Bike is just a bike. You can ride on a sidewalk. Yeah. So with my electric bicycle, I can ride down the sidewalks of New York. And I can go up to 28 miles per hour, which is pretty much a car. Oh, you can in New York. Yes, freedom. That's Meg. Meg was just like, freedom. Woo. Very interesting. So, Delvin, I like that you bring in this Switzerland because I actually didn't know about that. A lot of people in Switzerland, through the hills of Switzerland, ride electric bicycles. So there are different classes of, at least in the U.S., there are Class 1, Class 2, and Class 3 electric bicycles. Class 3 electric bicycles are pretty interesting, but they're also expensive. So you can get a Class 3 electric bicycle, remember, for about $5,000 to $6,000. You can get a motorcycle for that same price. But a Class 3 electric bicycle can do 60 miles an hour. So you can be doing highway speed on a bicycle. And you do not need a license. You do not need a helmet. That's the weird part with the regulations. I can get a Class 3 electric bicycle, and I can go down the highway at 60 miles an hour with no helmet, no protection, no nothing, any of that. I would never do that. Because also I have all the motorcycle gear, so I'd actually wear the motorcycle gear on my bicycle. As Meg said, I also have a wife that will regulate me. As she's sitting next to me. So that's very interesting that you bring that up in Switzerland. Yeah. I've never been to Europe, but Meg has been to Europe. Have you been to Switzerland? She's never been to Switzerland, but she's been to Italy. Italy have a lot of hills. So, an electric bicycle, Southern Italy, specifically Southern Italy. So, Southern Italy, imagine an electric bicycle. You don't have to pedal. You just have a little thumb throttle. So you just push this little lever on the right grip. It's just your thumb to go up and down hills. She said walking in Southern Italy is leg day. The Netherlands too, yeah. Netherlands also has quite loose marijuana among other things, as Meg has said. But also, it seems like the U.S. is loosening up on a lot of marijuana rules. As I continue to drink my Grand Marnier and Jack Daniels. Well, this has been a fascinating discussion. We are at 2 hours and 41 minutes live. Definitely more than I was intending, but I have loved this conversation. So, Raymond and Delvin, thank you for this. Delvin, I will definitely check out that YouTube channel. Is that channel based in Switzerland or the Netherlands or anywhere in Europe like that? Not just bikes. Okay, I will look that up. Delvin, I'm glad I can be all of your interests in one with Minecraft, urban planning, and weather. I am the electrified weatherman, so I am going to be pushing that. I am the electrified weatherman, all about Minecraft, urban planning, and weather. But it's definitely been a pleasure. Raymond and Delvin, thank you so much for joining. It has been a great conversation, so I hope you also got a weather forecast out of that. It is quite late in the night. It is past 11, so I'm going to start ending right now. We got a couple comments more coming in. Okay. Not Just Bikes is based in the Netherlands. Once you watch the videos, it opens your mind. Okay. I will definitely take a look at that channel. And I'm glad it was definitely a pleasure. Minecraft is always fun. And yes, I am a 31-year-old man playing Minecraft. Well, it was a pleasure for me as well. I hope you got a little bit of the weather forecast, a little bit of the model discussion, I guess a little bit of an EV and infrastructure discussion as well that wasn't planned at all, and a little bit of just Minecraft. So I hope you both have a great rest of your night. If you're about to go to bed, then me too. If not, have a great rest of whatever you're about to do for the rest of the evening. And I will definitely see you in the next couple of videos. I'm going to try and see if I can get a weather forecast video out tomorrow, just for a little quick weather update. And then Thursday, definitely check back on the channel on Thursday for Full Throttle Thursday, Electrified Weatherman, with part 2 of my Tesla Model 3 review. So for this entire year of 2022, my number one video was the YouTube short, a 54-second video on the teaser for the Model 3 review. And then my number 2 video of the year is part 1 of the Tesla Model 3 review. So I hope you all enjoy that. And Raymond, Delvin, I would definitely hope that you can watch that video once I publish it. And maybe check back if I have I'm probably going to do a YouTube short tomorrow on the weather forecast, but I hope you all enjoy that. And anybody that's watching that is new to the channel, I have rebranded myself as the Electrified Weatherman, meteorologist, professional meteorologist on television that also does weather forecasting on YouTube, specifically for the Northeast. And I do a lot of electric vehicle or EV coverage. So I hope you all enjoy, and if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit that subscribe button below and hit the little bell icon right next to that so you get notified whenever I go live like this or I upload a new video. Smash that like button too so you like this video. That like button really does help the YouTube algorithm to get my channel out more, because I do have that goal to try and get to at least 200 subscribers by the end of the year. And ultimately, I would like to get to 1,000 subscribers so I can make revenue from YouTube. Raymond, Delvin, you have been a pleasure to speak with in the comments there, so thank you so much. And anybody new, if you want to join into the comments on the live channels, I'm going to be going almost, I'm trying to get regular for Tuesdays at 8 p.m. for my live stream like this. All right, have a great rest of your evening. Thank you all for joining. This is meteorologist Andrew Pinero. I will see you all in the next video.